Games, my guy.
Boom goes the dynamite.
It's only a game. Why did you have to be mad?
Hello, and welcome back to Games My Guy podcast, the esports podcast by fans for fans. My name is Patrick Aches Avery Kenny, and joined, as always, is my blushing bride, Ethan Doc Goose Butler. How's it going, man?
I thought you'd never ask. I've been waiting. I know Callie's around, but I knew it one day if I just believed, and I just kept. I'm getting ready now.
If you just kept making the podcast happen, one day it'll be a proposal.
I knew it was coming. I knew if I just simped hard enough, if I became the biggest H stan.
Oh my God.
I think it would come.
Well, today's the day. The ring is in the mail because we are doing this over satellite. So,
Yay.
I mean, but yeah, how you doing, man?
The week I started off angry, but I'm less angry now.
I
And
feel
I'm
like
feeling
you're
pretty
always
bad.
angry. I feel like you always have something going on.
You're not wrong. I think I used to be really calm and not calm, but like I used to be not angry all the time. But since I've gotten into like Overwatch League and esports, I'm just angry. I'm just angry about all the things and like what roster moves make me mad now or happy or everything just goes wrong depending on what happens in the Overwatch League.
Honestly. Well, yeah, we're pretty dialed in here. You a little bit more than me. You're always got the hot goss for the Twitter sphere, and you always got
Trying.
you're always sending me stuff, and I always find out stuff through you. So I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense that it would bug you because we're right into it, you know. And this is the time when teams are going to make decisions that are going to make fans not super jazzed about it. But we've got some pretty sick signings. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We are seeing what the Toronto Defiant are going to be looking like in 2021. And so far, it's looking pretty good. But it is something that a lot of people have noticed that they are going mostly Korean, which is interesting. I mean, it's not a bad pick, but
No.
I don't think it was something that people were expecting.
I don't know if I wasn't expecting it. I thought because the way they went in 2020, of course, didn't end up working out,
Mm-hmm.
but it made them one of the most popular teams. Like no one gave a shit in 2019. Good players, reasonably well, but until IM37 did what he could, but like even then it was just kind of like, oh, they're there. Toronto is physically there.
Yeah.
They weren't the Canadian team anyone really cared about. That was Vancouver because of the runaway connection. And so when they picked a bunch of homegrown players, the Canadian boys. Half of Team Canada was on this roster, and I was hyped about it. And plus, they had some other cool signings. Like, and Nevitz seemed cool. Beast could have done some stuff. Kariv
Kariv was the best.
I miss him every day. But they were a wildly popular team in 2019, despite their struggles. And so now they're shifting gears again. They're still popular, and it's not like they're picking up randoms. Like they're picking up some hot prospects and some known properties. It's just a different feel than 2020, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Something had to change. Like they did they're making the right moves by starting at the coach and letting him maybe assemble the roster he wants. That's a good thing. I wouldn't mind seeing some more Western players because I'm fully vocal about how much I love Mitts teams because I think the interactions is great. It's better for the league, in my opinion.
For sure.
But I'm a little mad, but not like crazy mad. Like I'd like to see some more Western players, but I'm not going to be mad if they don't have them. Like, because I want them to win. And if this is how they're going to win, do what you need to do.
Yeah, if this is the team that's going to do it, and if these are the pieces that are going to do it, we still have yet to see how it's going to work out. But there's a lot of signings to the Toronto Defiant that should have the fans excited. It has me excited. The biggest one for me is Sado being picked up as main tank.
Oh, yeah, baby.
From the number 2 best team in NA, a grinder. The guy, like Toronto Defiant seems to pick up a lot of grinders, but that guy, he went from being like one of the players who is not really like seen as a very, very good player, but he went on to be, prove people wrong and kind of step up his game. And you could see that from their second place finish in NA.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I remember after 2019, everyone Sado was a meme.
A huge
Like, right?
meme, yeah.
Huge meme. Reddit was like, oh, when they announced that they re-signed Sado and that was like the only tank they were going with, everyone's like, oh, Philly is throwing. Philly's stupid. A bunch of morons over in the Philtown.
Yeah, Carpe has all the money. They can't afford another main tank.
Yeah, what the hell? Carpe's got it all. He's riding Poto's shoulders because he's just so rich and it's more expensive than a car. But yeah, no, Sado was. I was questioning it. Even I was like, could he do good? I was like, I'm a little nervous. I would have signed. And my thought was like, sign someone else just in case, because like if that didn't work out, that'd be so bad. But like you said, yeah, he went from meme to dream. Because that dude just kind of he became top 5, top 3 main tank in the league. Like he was pounding on Winston, he was pounding on the Rhine.
Yeah,
his Arisa was there. Roadhog was all right. He's not like super, but like Roadhog's not a traditional main tank, so fuck you.
yeah. Also, don't. No one compares to Super. Super is just on his own other like level.
That's very true. Matthew Cashew Delisi, the cat boy of our dreams, was he like 2-time champion, World Cup winner, 40-foot vertical leap, 300-pound Monday bench press. Everything about that man. What Chad, a true Chad.
Yeah, he's a specimen of a man, and boy howdy, can he play video games real good.
But not eat hot chips. He did not handle that well. I watched him do like the hot chip challenge where you buy that one chip.
Yeah.
Oh, he fucking died.
I've seen a lot.
Great.
That's like a big trend going on right now. Like I saw Tyler One from like the League of Legends scene. He did it as well. Oh my god, I guess we should do that. I think that's how we get clout.
I mean, I don't want to. You do it. I'll film you doing it.
No,
I'll come to Toronto and watch you physically do it.
Okay, we do one ship. We do one ship, but we each take a bite from other sides.
We'll Lady in the Tramp a chip.
Exactly.
If we do that, will we get followed? If anyone's listening. Will we get clout? Will we get followers? Will you watch us die for your entertainment?
I think they would, or at least people would happen upon it and be like, "Oh, that's so funny," and then exhale aggressively through their nose and then on to the next thing on Twitter.
They'd be like, and then maybe like the video and not subscribe.
And then they go on with the rest of their lives. That's pretty much it.
We're just struggling on the ground, and we're just like and subscribe
for more Overwatch content. Oh,
just milk coming out of our noses. Oh. Yeah, I grab a team's jersey that we hate and just wipe our faces.
Pretty much. Honestly, yeah, I think that would be a good move. But
we're desperate for ideas.
We are very desperate for ideas because we are on episode 3 of Hot Goss because there's so much hot goss.
It's everywhere, man.
And it's all just trickling as we go. Oh. But with the Sado signing, I know I've been talking to you about it. We've kind of had a little bit of chats about just what the main tank, like who's starting on main tank. Is it going to be Beast? Is it going to be Sado? Because Beast was signed first, and they did not need to sign him. No. And like he was the first signing that the Defiant made public. Yeah. So I thought Beast was their guy. I thought they were going to pick him up, and then they saw he did well in whatever it was, scrims or something. But then they go and sign Sado, who is like a very hotly contested main tank. So he's not cheap, and he's being signed like from the Philadelphia Fusion, so he's not cheap at all. What do you think? Do you think there's room for both of them, or do you think one of them is going to be a good practice scrub or something?
It probably, outside of the wild double main tank meta, which honestly I would love to see.
Oh, like, I saw we'll try it tonight, and don't you worry.
It's going to be great. We're going to win. The Ryan Winston from Obey Alliance, give it to me. Give me that be the let that be the meta for the whole year. Yeah. Maybe spice up with Diva every now and again. But like, give me my Ryan Winston as much as I want, because that's what we deserve. Mm-hmm. But outside of something like that, barring like Beast just all of a sudden just pounding, I can't see him starting. Like I don't see it. Like Beast, I don't hate as a player. I think he's actually pretty solid to even have as a backup in case something happens. But like, yeah, that boy's gonna be on the bench. And there's nothing wrong with being on the bench.
No, it's true. It's true.
Like Crimzo would even say, he's like, just because you're on the bench doesn't mean you're bad. That's objectively incorrect thinking. Mm-hmm. It's just also just with the way the roster is going too. Like if it's a mostly full Korean roster, with maybe Logic's playing, you could calm in Korean. Like Logis could
Mhm.
pick up some Korean.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, we saw other rosters and other teams kind of pull off this mostly Korean with one like Western or European pickup who is just a god and like is on that team for that reason. You saw that from Paris Eternal with FD God, and now you're seeing it now with the Defiant with Logix.
And the
Because I
Shock
think
have made it work wonderfully.
exactly, and Logix has been in this position before. The Florida Mayhem, I know that they went mostly Korean for when they were McDonald's yellow and red,
Oh, that was wonderful.
and Logix was on that team. But yeah, so we've seen the success happen before, and I think Logix, he's good enough, and I think he has the like natural raw talent to be on a team like that. It just,
Yeah.
I think the biggest question is going to be comms. Is Logix going to be able to adapt, or are they all going to universally speak English in comms?
Well, I know what the Spark did something interesting back in like 2019 because they were primarily a Korean roster, but with Gushui, who was Chinese,
Right.
and so they would common English for Gushui, but what they would do is I think they would use English for like just like locations, and Korean for ultimates and shit
That's
like
crazy.
that. So they would do English to like enter top left or something like that, or left.
Yeah, yeah.
But then they use, I think that something with the word hammer was used for Reinhardt's ultimate. They just hammer. And so that would be like how they call out. So that's not, it's not infeasible. Infeasible? It's not whatever that word that I'm trying to say is. To say Logis could maybe pick up a couple of, honestly, hit scan as well is not the most, is it the most, how important is comms for hit scan, would you say?
Like I mean, in our Scrub
it's
Lord
not-
games, it's
Yeah,
really not the biggest one. Usually, they're the ones responding to callouts.
Yeah.
Which I mean, traditionally the callouts are happening from main tank, main support, but we don't know what the hierarchy is going to look like. I feel like Sado is a very vocal guy. I know that he was vocal on Philadelphia Fusion. I expect him to be vocal in Toronto Defiant.
Yeah.
But and especially because we have a full rookie roster for the support lineup. So that's going to be a big hurdle for them getting those guys on board. But they're picking them up for talent, and they're picking them up because they think they fit in that dynamic.
Yeah.
So I think signing Sado with these two rookies on support, I think is a really, really good way of working at it. And in terms of comms, I think Logic's, honestly, the play style that he's given the Widow, he's given the Ashe. It's a lot of sit and shoot, and usually it's 5 players going one way, Logic's going another. So, maybe it won't be that big of an issue for them. And honestly, just when you mentioned how they mixed language to do comms, like, do you think they just sit on a couch after scrims and just like practice? Because like, how can you even master that? That sounds like such an interesting skill set.
I know that was tough for, I think, Doucheway initially because learning English and Korean and they were common English while he was learning Korean, and so he learned. I don't know how much they common English now because he speaks a lot of Korean, but he might not even have to because they've signed a full Chinese and a full Korean roster. They have 2 rosters essentially,
Right?
But I think you're right. They have to practice. You would have to be practicing with the team. Like Logis would have. I think if the pro bulk of the team is Korean, Logis should be learning Korean, not the other way around.
For sure. It's just easier. It's just
Yeah,
easier, and
it's easier
it's
to teach him.
makes the
some
whole
Korean
team more
phrases.
comfortable.
Like you don't even need to have him speak fluent. Just have him understand the phrases he needs to understand, and then he can pop off. Like a Tracer, who you're targeting, the names of the players are multilingual. Like Tracer has said, I think even when it's in other languages, it's Tracer. Monkey.
Yeah,
That's how it goes. Like you can just focusing is easy, but little things would be a bit more tricky. But I think Lodge will be fine. Like he's not my issue. I think it depends who they sign, and for other positions, like I know they have the sport lines sorted out. Like you talked about shot calling.
Yeah.
With Ansun J maybe be taking on primary shot calling duties,
Totally.
or is it Sado, or is it Aztec? I don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah.
But like I think KDG can figure this all out. I believe in KDG.
Yeah.
He seems he's a handsome fella. Seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. I'll simp. I'll do it.
I'll simp. I just picture you at night at like 4 a.m. because you're always up at 4 a.m.
It's
Just
true, I
like
shouldn't be.
with your chicky nugs, just like chilling, and you're like scrolling through Defiant, and you see a picture, and you're just like, I'll simp.
Is that just me with photos of KDG now? I'm just
Yeah.
like, it's a nice shirt you got
Yeah,
there, man.
you wipe the deep fried crumbs off your mouth, and you
Dare
give
you,
a, you
bait.
and you give a little smirk.
I
I'll simp.
wipe the ranch dressing off. It's just everywhere. It's in my mustache.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. Yeah, I also believe in KDG. I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
And we can speculate all we want, but we need to see matches. We need to see some scrims. I'm hoping, because you remember last year when they had those like early like show matches and they were trash garbage to watch.
Of course.
Yeah, that was awful. I hope that we get something like that in the future that is just more competitive or just like more straight to the rules of Overwatch League, because that sucked.
The
That
best
really
we had
sucked.
recently was stuff. The World Cup. World Cup was great though.
Oh,
You had
love a World Cup.
Except for 2019. We're Canadian, so we don't remember what happened in 2019. Nothing happened, to be honest. I don't think we were there.
Yeah, it was all a blur.
Was that Stussy playing Overwatch 2 in a stream when a Canadian game was happening? So Agilities was playing Reset? I don't know. Magnitude as well. I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see it.
Big oof.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to.
Yeah, we took that silver medal and we said, all right, that's it. Canadian esports is done.
We'll accept a bronze the following year.
Yeah.
But after that,
it's just downhill further and further.
Thank you for inviting us. We
Yeah.
can't. Again, if there was I'll get back into the signings in a minute.
Oh, of course.
If there was like a World Cup this year, who the fuck's playing Hitscan? Surefour, I don't think would do it.
Mm-hmm.
SUC is probably not going to play main tank. So we got a team that's like Shredlock, maybe Crimzo if he wants to. Zolik, at least we have a good main support. Plenty of options at Flex DPS. Well, not plenty, like 2.
Yeah.
Brizzer, Agilities.
Yeah, that's the first thing that came
Magnitude
up.
wants to play.
Just throw them on.
I'm just trying to think, it's like, who wants to play? We have 2 off-tank options. It's Note and Icy, and it's like Shredlock or Shane.
Oh yeah, Shane. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not bad.
He's not bad.
But like, no, so I don't know how well we do, but like we would be there. Someone would have to learn how to play Widowmaker.
Yeah, there would be 6 boys in Canadian jerseys on the stage for sure.
Maybe 6. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Jane's coming out of the coaching booth to fill one of them spots. We'll put a mustache on Linkser and just say, this is our friend.
Yeah, he's French Canadian.
His name's not Jerry, it's Johnny. Yeah, that's it. That'll do. It's like The Simpsons.
Yeah, Johnny. Yeah.
Or I'm pretty sure Dragon Ball Z that used we had that one of them in here.
My
Pretty
God.
sure they used,
Oh my God.
Is somewhere at some point, right? Also, yeah, when Gohan was his superhero alter ego. That's what we're doing in Leinster. He's Canadian now. He's ours.
Okay. Okay. The podcast has to stop for a second. I just have one question because I know my answer. Do you watch Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah.
You do?
Not right now, but I have in the past.
Okay, because I haven't watched an episode of Dragon Ball Z since I was like in elementary school.
I'll admit, me too. But I just remember distinctly the one arc where like Gohan was like, he's like a teenager, I think, and he was like, he had a superhero disguise. He had like a cape.
Oh my God! Yeah. Oh yes.
Right?
Yeah. When he has the whole like Saiyan thing going on.
Yeah, he's just having fun. But yeah, in short, the end of that weird tangent is Johnny. Insert Linkser. Johnny Linkser.
Yeah, we'll just call him Johnny Salami.
No relation to Linkser. Is our DPS.
Yeah.
He's
No
nice
questions asked. Yeah.
Yep. Don't worry about it.
Well, that is the Dragon Ball Z quote for the episode.
Yeah. We went a bit longer on this one. I'll admit.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a reach, but we found it. Our commitment to honoring Dragon Ball Z every week
Yeah,
is
we know.
here still.
We know everyone listens just for the Dragon Ball Z content, so thank you.
Yeah.
Back to the signings.
But yes,
Um,
we can. Before we get back to, we can talk about Toronto more because there's still like Hisu was signed.
Yeah,
Michelle, which we'll see how Michelle works out. We haven't seen him play in a while. That's my only concern with Michelle. He was
For
really
sure.
good in 2019. Didn't see a lot of play time in 2020, and so I'd like to see him again. He's very flexible. He could be very great.
yeah,
Hisu, I'm comfortable with. I think Hisu fills some of Logic's holes.
for sure,
Ignore that. That's a bad way of saying it. You know what I'm saying.
for sure.
Yeah. And so depends who they sign at Flex DPS. Then we'll see what the roster really looks like because Logit's and Hisu cannot play certain heroes to a high enough level.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I know Michelle. I know Michelle is kind of a little bit up in the air, but it's kind of it makes sense because Michelle. I mean, he's from Seoul Dynasty. He's very familiar with being on a winning team, and he's very familiar working in a mostly Korean roster
With KDG.
With KDG, that's the biggest thing. And I think KDG, he's not poaching. He is getting the players that he wants. And obviously Michelle left a great impression on him. That's the only reason that he would be here. So I think that's really exciting. We'll see how that goes. I think I agree with you. It really depends on how well they do when the game starts. Like Michelle needs to prove themselves.
I'm not saying it's the same scenario, but it's a bit of a Nevitz-like feeling.
For sure.
Because like Nevitz was really strong in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't play a lot in 2019. Am I thinking about that? Yeah, that's right. Because like Choi Oben, of course, you're not gonna play with fucking Choi Oben. He's like the best.
Right.
But so Toronto signed him off hype that was built around how much he was almost challenging for Choi for the spot. And it didn't really work out, which is fine. Nevitz is still a good guy and a good player, but like I don't want that. I'm not saying it's the same situation. It could be.
Yeah,
for sure. I don't want that. I'd like Toronto to be successful. One, they need a coach to stay for the whole season. They've never had that happen. Number two, they need players to stay for the whole season. Yeah, stop making weird shit happen in mid-season. A general manager to stay. Everything needs to just stay.
Yeah,
and then we'll be fine.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, I think if we have anything like the start we had last year, we should be okay. Yeah. But yeah, time will tell. Time will tell. But I know that one of the teams that you cover for the gaming house, Vancouver Titans, have been, making some roster decisions. Maybe.
I don't, man.
I know this is another thing that has been making you angry this week.
Well, it's just as a writer who covers this team, it would be nice to have some information about the team you cover, so you're not just frantically scraping at any scrap of dust that might be something. And like the team's unfortunately been super quiet. All they've been putting out on socials is a trivia contest, I think, and trivia and like a play of the year contest, and that's about it. I feel for the socials, dude. I do. It's just I would like to know more. And they've been radio silent. Even with Shockwave, the way I found out about Shockwave leaving that team was when Philly signed Shockwave. I didn't like seeing that. I would have preferred to see their announcement first. Maybe that's on Philly. I don't know. But in short, I'm curious to see what the Titans will do because they're a team of question marks right now. Like the rumored signings are FRD for off tank, which actually is a good sign. I'm actually not mad with it. I think that's actually could be really good. Mr. Fried Wiener has showed up in the past. That was his name for a long time. He was Fried Wiener. But he could be really good. And then they'd also apparently signed Fire from the Rain. So they're just poaching Rain boys. I'm hoping they continue to do that because Dogman's available. And objectively, he'd be a step up from Rolf. Again, maybe Rolf will have a better season. I don't know. It's just I'd like to have another option. Plus, double flex support is kind of a thing that seems to be happening more and more. Then they need a flex DPS. Their options are they need two more. Fucking hell, they need so many players. And there's apparently rumored to be signing Lancer, which again would make me. This episode's apparently dedicated to Lancer, so we're just talking about him a lot. But I'd love to see him on the team, or Only God. But Lancer, Only God, I think Rezer would be probably one of your best options for flex DPS. That's not like a bad roster objective. Like it's hard to say how good it would be, but individually the pieces, if the roster I just proposed to you, wouldn't be terrible. Like it's
Yeah.
not. I think there could be worse rosters.
It's true. I guess the way I look at it is there's really with other teams like Defiant and like a lot of other teams, there's kind of a method to the madness. Like you can kind of see where things are going. KDG, he's signing players that that have left good impressions on him. But Vancouver's moves don't really make sense to me. Shockwave, I know he was a huge asset for you. I hope they got a lot of money for releasing Shockwave. I hope so. Like
I don't
hope...
even know if they did, because he was a free agent.
Yeah. So
like
well, if any at any rate, I hope Shockwave is getting paid what he deserves, because he proved that he's a very, very competent and like he performs like a veteran even when he was on a losing team. I'm very excited to see where he goes from here. But the Vancouver Titans, just as a whole, it's hard to know where they're going, because I do like the signing for Fire. I've kind of slept on it. My initial reaction was I hated it. I thought that it made no sense. If you're gonna pick up a support, why not pick up anyone else who's has a little bit of play time, or you're putting someone with Rolf. Get someone that Rolf has played with, or just like have some sort of plan. But Fire, he has been a part of the Reign, and the Reign was a team that did well for a little bit, didn't do super well near the end, and his play time was almost nothing. So it's kind of
like 2 hours,
something like that. Yeah, it's something super, super small.
Well,
and I was looking back at his like past records, and he hasn't been a part of any team that's really like gone above and beyond and been like an outstanding team. So them signing Fire signals to me that they're just picking up players that they can get. We don't know. Yeah, we don't know what the inner workings are, and I believe in the Vancouver Titans office. I believe that they know what they're doing. It's just they're not making it clear to the public, and on paper, it's hard to see where their decisions are being made. How do you feel about this? I know I'm just spewing.
You're feeling. We're kind of on the same page. Like, because I'm worried though, because their signs also indicate what could be a troubling pattern. None of them are Korean,
right?
And I think the rumor going around is that they've alienated the Korean Overwatch community so much by how things were handled with the former Runaway roster.
I don't
think any Korean player wants to touch that team, which could be an issue if they don't make that right in the future, which I don't know if they can. So they're signing players. There's again a full Western roster. Could it work? Maybe. It's just a lot. It's a lot to ask, because Korea is the powerhouse in the world of Overwatch. Like, there's no denying that. That's the reason I want a mixed roster, is because I want the whole world to learn from Korea, so the talent pool internationally grows.
Yeah.
And so I'm worried, but like it's gonna be interesting to see how it goes, because Flubby is a good coach, and he's good at taking what might not seem to be on paper like a strong roster into doing something good. Like Second Wind, while they were around in Contenders, was such a crazy organization. Like they would take, like I remember the one game they had to rebuild their team in like a couple hours and then play a game that night, and they won that game. Like Second Wind is just known for like quick turnaround, because other players got poached by academy teams, Overwatch League all the fucking time. So Flubby is a good coach. Like, he's great, and so I'm confident. He only has one assistant coach though. I'm a little nervous about that. I think more coach, maybe one more coach would be nice. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes with Vancouver. As a fan, I want them to do well, and the moves they're making are better than I anticipated in some ways. Although I think, because I had players like, I think I had Paintbrush as an option, which wouldn't be too bad. He's not horrible.
Yeah.
I had Aspen, but I'm not sure if she feels that she's ready yet. She might be. I'd love to see her in the Overwatch League. I think she's really good. And Zolik as well. But now I'm curious if they don't sign Zolik, I'm curious if Zolik gets picked up, because I think he should go with Overwatch League. He's good enough. Houston's probably an option, but yeah, it'll be really interesting to see, because it's gonna be I'm nervous, but I'm a little more optimistic if some of these signings come true.
For sure. For sure. And there's a lot of free agents that are still out there. And with, the more exposure that contenders get, the more, these contender names are becoming household names and names that you're seeing on a lot of different signing sheets and a lot of different tryout sheets. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Crimzo going over to Houston Outlaws was one more signing I wanted to talk about. Yeah. That was kind of a bop for me. And I think that's a great spot for him too.
Houston?
Man. 100%.
They're making Cool Matt 69 is fucking killing it at the GM right now.
Mm-hmm.
His first moves were bringing in Junk Buck from the San Francisco Shock, which is amazing. You've signed Crimzo, who's probably he's the best Western Fleet support, hands down. Objectively speaking, there's many arguments you could make for Jofi or
right,
something like that, or no, Jofi. Wait a minute. No, Jofi's a flat main support. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm saying it's other players, but you can make arguments for certain players and contenders. But I think Crimzo is objectively the best Western flat support. His stats were people were down on him sometimes with Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
But if you looked at his stats, he was second only to Violet, unlike Anna. I think with healing and damage, he was putting up crazy numbers.
Yeah,
so Crimzo's a great signing. Houston also they signed Happy from the.
Oh my god.
Which is a monster pickup. If you're gonna replace Lynch is really good, but Happy's a fucking beast.
Yeah,
that dude's a hit stand monster. So that's insane pickup. And there's rumors they might get Nero if that works out. Octane Piggy, who's really good as well. And I literally just saw Halo. That's why I was looking down from it. He tweeted out they may have signed a player called Juby from
for the Outlaws
Storm. Yeah, he's an Outlaws. If it comes true, he would be the first player to go from collegiate to Overwatch League.
Interesting.
So I don't know if that's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's just Halo, and he's saying sources, and whenever he says sources, that's when he's fairly confident in his reporting.
Interesting.
And so, it'd be they're looking really good. It depends who they get for main tank, of course, but because obviously because the Crimzo has stayed at hydration, I think he's moving back to DPS, which he should have been. He's not a tank player. He just is probably one of the most flexible players in the league. And so we need someone to play tank, and hydration was just literally probably just drinking water, and they were just
yeah, I feel like this is going to be a big step up year for the Outlaws, not having hydration as the main tank. And
I just feel bad for hydration. His stock probably plummeted a bit after last season. Not entirely anything was his fault there.
No.
He's a good flex DPS. People need to remember he's really strong on the Pharah, the Doomfist. I think his Genji's pretty good too. His Mei, I think, looked a little shaky, but I think you can work on that. But they have good coaching staff now, people playing their actual roles.
Which is, crazy for us to see.
It's bonkers, and you don't want to think about it. But I'm pretty high on the Outlaws right now. I'm riding the Yeehaw wave right now, and they're making me want a jersey.
Yeah,
they're making me are they coming in my top 5?
Who knows? Who knows?
Prestigious spot. Yes, of course. It's like MySpace. But
no, the Houston Outlaws are anteing up on the competition.
They're getting Texas hard.
They're getting Texas hard. They're the battle for Texas. They got it. I feel the same way. Honestly, this rebuild is really looking good for them. There's definitely some winners and losers in this off season, and I think the Outlaws are definitely winning it for sure.
If they, depending on who their signings are, they could the battle for Texas, which did look one-sided when Dallas started signing at their Element Mystic peoples, might be much more competitive than you might think. Because the DPS lineup of the Outlaws, if it goes a certain way, might be better. It's a hot take because Sparkle is amazing, Doha and Etsy.
Mm-hmm.
But Happy can take Etsy on, I think. Dante's a better tracer than Sparkle or Doha.
For sure.
And then Sombra is tightly contested, though. Doha's a really good Sombra. Yeah. But if they sign Nero, Nero is, I don't know if he's better than Sparkle, but he might be able to compete with Sparkle.
For sure.
Well, and Sparkle is a very limited hero pool, but still.
Mm. Well, if the San Francisco Shock are any example for us, having all the best players on your team works. So I mean, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if they only play one champ. We'll just sign them. Doesn't matter.
Who would have thought?
Who'd have thunk? Look at us.
Hey, look at us.
Well, that brings us to the end of our podcast episode.
Yes.
Ethan, We've talked a lot. We kind of got a little crunching of the numbers in this one.
We tried.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're not the biggest source for hard facts, but we definitely throw our hat in the ring in this episode. Do you have any
best?
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts before we send it off into the universe?
I want Boston to do well.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Boston yet.
Don't worry, they haven't made any signs. They might, but Shockwave on the Fusion is going to fucking kill it. People should just be ready for a Carpe Shockwave duo or a Carpe EQO Shockwave, whatever rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Fusion are in a great spot, and that's a great spot for Shockwave. And I'm excited. I miss him dearly because he gave us Titans fans hope again, and so I wish him all the best. But he must be defeated.
Shockwave?
Yes.
We must kill him. We must.
That wee boy. It's gotta go.
If you're not with me, then you are my enemy.
Damn right.
Don't try it.
That's Shockwave to the Vancouver Titans. Don't try it.
Yeah.
I have the high ground.
It's just him as Echo.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, we will see more signings, I'm sure, in the coming weeks, and we will be talking about it next podcast.